and welcome back to Wrestling Forever. The wrestling podcast is about for fans, anyone in the industry, and anyone that has even looked sideways at the world of pro wrestling. I am the shambles that is Billy Kirkwood. Oh my God, is that old man Fitzsimons over there? Oh,
I'm over the hill, man.
Since you since the beaches of Normandy. Look at there he is, old man.
Listen, I did not need it drilled into me after the pre... I don't even know what to call it. You can't call it a midlife crisis. I'm not midlife yet, but after the disaster that was waking up yesterday and realising I'm the big 25, Billy, sorry to make you feel like I'm complaining.
Bro, just you fucking wait.
It's going to hit hard. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody, by the way, because I know a few people gave me some happy birthdays on Twitter, a lot on YouTube, which I don't get to answer every single one to, but thank you. It's nice to be here. All jokes aside, I feel the exact same way I felt when I was 24, so it's not that big a deal.
There we go. It's not the years, it's the mileage, my friend. It's not the years, it's the mileage. Well done. Well done. We're not measuring you up for a Hall of Fame run quite yet. I
just hope you're not looking at any potential kidney theft or anything like that, because I warn you right now, these organs are not in working order. That's all I'm saying.
Honest to God, my innards are like a bag of smashed up bananas.
I feel you. Mine's just sludge. See, if you were to open up a jar of jam and just pour it out the flare, that's what you're getting.
Yeah, pulled a muscle yawning the other day, which is never a good sign. How do you know that way? And all I did, what did I do to save myself? Just a big fart. And then I was back on...
Back to normal.
But we are talking about pro wrestling. So much has happened over the last couple of weeks. We're gonna bring you a regular episode. I think we're gonna manage to cover that. So much has happened in the last couple of days. So we got to get to the eyes, the nose, some big ones coming up over the next couple of days. You wanted, and very rarely do we hear this because we love a bitch and we love a moan.
Yes.
It's part of the delight of being a pro wrestling fan is you get to have a right good moan. But Ryan wanted to bring some positivity. So, my friend, why don't you kick us off?
Man, what a week. What a couple of weeks since it's been since we sat down and done a normal episode. Of course, the last one we done was at the commentary booth, a wee brief update after the John Cena heel turn. So we have got loads to catch up on. Today, I want to be positive. The birthday positivity is being spread amongst the masses. I'm going to begin giving some love to the ladies over in WWE, and trust me, I'm going to be getting to the ladies of AEW as well.
Here he goes, he's turned into a dirty old man, 25, and that's how he's turned into a dirty old man.
Ric Flair's influence is unmatched. All I can say is Rhea, Bianca, Io. I'm going to say it. I'm going to cut the crap here, and I'm just going to get straight to my point. Give them the main event at night one of WrestleMania. I will die on that hill. I think they should be given the main event at night one. Now, I know the big conversation will be, but Seth Rollins and Punk are going to have a triple threat. And trust me, I love Seth Rollins and Punk. Seth Roman and Punk. I love all three of them. I love them to bits. CM Punk's my guy. Seth Rollins has had the company in his back for the last decade. Roman Reigns is a megastar. But these three women have got the title on the line. Arguably three of the best women that the WWE have ever seen. And they are about to go into what is a match with a great story to it. I think that the whole thing that's happening with Bianca and Jade and Naomi is looking fantastic going into Mania, and obviously kind of ties into this match.
Less is more. They're not giving us too much yet. They're not giving us too much.
Io is obviously now new women's champion, showing that she shouldn't be an afterthought to the likes of Bianca and Rhea. And then Rhea is just Rhea. So I think this angle, this match going into Mania is going to be fantastic. I love what they're doing with the whole women's division at the minute when it comes to the top end anyway. Yeah. And I think this should main event, Billy. I really do. I think it should.
Love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank
yes.
You. Thank you.
Big fan of this. Big fan of what we're doing with the women's division. I feel like I almost wish Rhea had a non-title feud lined up, but we've done that. We've done that. It's been and gone. The non-title feud. If the feud with her and Liv Morgan hadn't have went by the click it went past, or maybe if Rhea didn't come back as quick as she had, that could have been the match for WrestleMania, but it's not. It's not anymore. And I'm a fan of these three working together. Arguably, I think it's going to be a better match than any previous triple threat matches or any women's matches we've had at the top of the card at WrestleMania before. I think the athleticism, story, there's a lot in here. There's a lot in here to unpack, and I would say people are invested. So I'm into it. Book it. Book it, Dana.
I just think that the three of them have worked so hard. Bianca is someone who for the last couple of years has been given different roles in the company, working with Jade in tag team fashion, working with Naomi in tag team fashion, really elevating their stock. Well, she's had to kind of be on the back burner watching Rhea and Bayley and Liv get the flowers and be at the top when Bianca's arguably the most talented out of the three.
Yeah.
Rhea has obviously just been fantastic in a start, and Io could be the best. Just could be the best in the whole world. Just the way that she is. So these are three women who I think are going to put on an absolute barn burner at Mania, Billy.
Do you know something? And I'm not. It's too early to predict, but it's on its way before we know it. I wouldn't mind seeing Io walk out as champ.
I really think that there's scope to do that after the segment on Raw. The whole Bianca and Rhea getting in each other's face. We're clearly going to get a one-on-one match sometime over the next year between those two. But the way they were shoving Io out the way as if she was an afterthought, for then Io to stand up for herself and say, hey, I'm the champion here. Don't forget I'm the champion. I think that there is real scope for her to be the one that leaves Mania with the title. And I would love it. I'm all for it. In fact, I'd maybe lean as far to saying that that's who I hope wins, Billy.
There we go. I got to admit, I kind of do. I'm none against Bianca. I think these are like great acting from her or for the Elimination Chamber right through to Monday Night Raw. Also, Naomi is smashing this. I hope they give her snake, the heel character that she could do so much with. We haven't had one like that in a while, and we really need one in the mix.
Naomi really needed that. This is the best thing that I think will happen in Naomi's WWE career. She was doing great work in Impact and TNA at the time when she was obviously Trinity Fatu, whatever, and she was doing really, really well with that. But I think in WWE, her whole glow, nice guy sort of gimmick was running to the end of its shelf life.
Yeah,
and I could tie that into this three-way dance between Bianca, Io, and Rhea. I think that the work that they're doing with her and Jade now, starting from Elimination Chamber, has some real intrigue to it, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Definitely, like that, and on board. This is a bit of a quick eye, and it is a shout out to WWE, who have provided a generation of wrestling fans with something that they've really wanted. No, it's not that. It's quietly. Over the last week, they launched the WCW YouTube channel. Now, a whole bunch of people missed this, but I came across, I managed to find it. I don't know, it just popped up in the algorithm. Fantastic. We have a classic WCW full pay-per-views as well, going right back to 1992. We've got some brilliant stuff in there from peak WCW 96 right up until the end. I've got to say, if you're a wrestling fan, you were a fan of the WWE Network and you missed that, go check this out. If you're a wrestler that maybe is just not from that generation, go check this out. There is so much to learn from, and a big shout out to WWE for putting up this totally free service. Free!
You know what the main thing about this for me is, Billy? They have clearly taken note of what we're missing with the WWE Network. Yeah. It's not as if they've just let the WWE Network go, Netflix will pick it all up eventually. No, they're acting on the fact that we're losing so much content. We had a plethora of content that would last us decades, in fact, if you tried to watch it through week by week. And they needed a place for people to still access that. And they've got the WWE Vault channel as good as it's going.
It's great. It's great already.
WCW channel. I mean, they're really taking note of what the people want.
And I love it as well because, like, think of it. If you're a wrestling fan on a budget, maybe you're just wanting to digest something that little bit different. We can all go down those wrestling wormholes whenever the notion takes us. Clearly Netflix have decided we're not really wanting to get into that business unless it's like a classic made-for-us program, and that is totally fine. If you probably chucked out the algorithm, of course, the more up-to-date stuff is going to be the one that's really smashing those viewing figures. So why would they want WCW taking up content space on Netflix? I totally get that. But if this is what they're doing, love it. With this and the new Evolve show that's on as well, there is some strides that are satisfying the wrestling fans. If they could find a home for independent wrestling companies that they worked for before and showcase some of that stuff via their channels, hey, listen, I'm sure that I know for a fact there are plenty of companies out there that wouldn't mind getting a couple of thou for that. That would be all right. But no, I love it. I love the fact they're giving us a little. I kind of hope we're going to get an ECW one.
Surely it's in the works, especially because, you know, Heyman is so involved still, and just I feel like that's got to be something that comes along. They've got the whole partnership with Bubba Ray, and he's on that new LFG program. There just seems to be a want for that, I would say.
I would hope so. But I just wanted to give a big shout out because I thought absolutely fantastic. I've dipped in and out. There's old episodes of Nitro in there. There's the first ever Nitro, and there is a documentary that accompanies the first ever Nitro. And if you're interested in media, if you're interested in wrestling and some of the moving and shaking the way it used to happen, you gotta watch this. If you're wondering who the fuck is Eric Bischoff, and that could be a possibility, despite the fact that if you haven't heard of Eazy-E, then you have missed out.
Do you know what? It's not so. Like, there is so many new wrestling fans out there. So many new wrestling fans, not just because they're new in general, but because they're maybe just too young. I seen a tweet the other day, and it was the photo of, and I think most people on Twitter would have seen this by now, but somebody put up the photo, or maybe it was Reddit actually. And it was Punk and Cena holding both their WWE championships in the air, and the quote, the caption that came along the side the photo was, "Can somebody explain this to me? Why were both of them holding those titles in the air? What is the story here?" And I was like, that was only 2011. That was, I remember it as if it was yesterday. So, and that's not a dig on you know, I needed people to explain to me things when I first got into wrestling. I needed people to explain why Steve Austin was shaking the hand of Vince McMahon at WrestleMania.
It's a lot to catch up with, man. It's a lot to catch up with.
There's a lot. So these channels are great. They're great. Good, because my eye that I have to bring up is showing some love to the other side, to AEW, to the women over there, which also will lead into
everyone thinks we're WWE shells, Ryan.
I know.
Thinks we're WWE shells. We're marks. We're fanboys. Oh my god.
We are just made for the Fed. We are spoon fed by the Fed. This does lead into my no. This does lead into my no, which we'll get to eventually. So I'm not going to say too much yet, but got to talk about Toni and Mariah. Got to talk about what they done at the weekend at Revolution, which was a good show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show, apart from my no, which we'll come to.
Oh, I get a feeling I know what that might be, because it's the same no a lot of people.
Oh, right, okay. But Mariah and Toni. What a story they've told. These women should have main evented the show, man. They should 100%. Have been on last. This was the story, the ending of the story, and it's just been a year's worth of narratives, of storytelling, of entertainment, which I don't think a lot of people thought AEW had in them. So good on whoever has done the majority of writing here, and I'm assuming that such a big part of it was Toni and Mariah themselves. And of course Toni can, if he's been involved. This is something that AEW really, really need to do across the entire of the company, across the men's division, tag division, women's division. Tell these stories. Long-term storytelling works. We know it works. Look at WWE. It's essentially what WWE have built the success that they have right now on. The whole Bloodline saga. Things don't need to be over and done with within a month, 2 months, 3 months. Stories can take time. They can take branches and go off to face other people, whatever. Think of all the people from the outside who have been involved with this whole thing, you know, like Mina Sharikawa and all these other women that have came in and out of the story, dipped in and out. I loved it. The match, there's been a lot of discourse online about should women be bleeding in wrestling and all the rest of it. Who cares? Like, it's fucking professional wrestling. I loved it. I thought it was great. And I can't wait to see what happens next for both women, because they've made themselves stars through this story. Well, absolute stars.
Right there with you, man. Right there with you. I absolutely love this. I have adored Timeless Toni Storm. It's somewhere between fear, respect, and just a crush, in all fairness. I just think it's been sheer entertaining, and then delivering in the ring in the way she has. Mariah May, of course, has very much kept up her end of the bargain, has been absolutely outstanding. Although I will say one thing, AEW, you see that bit where you let Tony Schiavone call her bitch? Don't like that. Did you see that?
Tony catching strays. Catching strays here.
Did you see that? When he went like,
I did, yeah.
Oh, hurry up and speak, bitch. And then she made a big deal about it next time they were together. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I don't think I've ever done that, heel or face. I don't think I'd ever do that to a wrestling talent on commentary. So, bit of a black mark against you there, Tony, but fuck it, why not?
I would like to hope that it was something that was fine and agreed on, but who knows? We'll never know.
I don't know. Just part of me went like, Don't like Anyway, Mariah May has been fantastic. Has been fantastic at this. And considering that of the two, Mariah is not as world traveled, but she's become a star in. It is one of those things that when you see this feud and you think, oh, imagine what this could have been in WWE, but would it have been anywhere near this, Ryan? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Toni Storm was effectively written off by WWE. There's no two ways about it. Was granted her release, walked across the road, got a job straight away. It took her a little while to find herself, but Timeless, I mean, even that promo they did with Renee on the Go Home show, where we got a very serious Timeless Toni Storm, Mariah May spat on her. It's like serious fucking shit in promo. And you got built up because you were like, these two, they are going to tear each other apart.
The fact that both of these women are in their 20s, by the way. Both of them are in their 20s. That is
I think so, yeah. Toni
insane.
can't be, if she is out of her 20s, she's not far out of her 20s.
I just checked it to make sure before I said it. Toni Storm is 29. She's 30 in October. And Mariah May is 27 this year. So
I mean, oh God, I think the first time I worked with Toni was like a decade ago. That is terrifying. Terrifying. She's always been good. She's always been good. She's always been amazing.
So yeah, flowers to them. And I just love the end graphics on the stage at the end of the match. It was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
No, I loved the whole thing, mate. I loved the whole thing. Sorry, we just got another question just popped in there. I'm just
we've got plenty of questions for the end of the show today. There's tons that I've seen.
Tons. I don't know if we're gonna get. Maybe we'll do a wee Q&A thing, a wee bonus episode or something at some point. We'll try and get through as many. Right, another one for me. I got to say, I'm going back over to WWE. I'm going to the Hall of Fame. And a big shout out that we are getting love for the historic tag team division in WWE. 2 teams, mate. 2 teams are going in. We have got my favourite tag team of all time. We've got Demolition going in. Fucking Demolition. Let's do it. I know they've been pros and cons. I know these guys have been back and forth over the last couple of years. But, man, what... If you've not seen any of Demolition's work, and I could understand why you've missed it, they were gone from WWE. They were basically eradicated from WWE history as of 1991. And I discovered them more after the fact, I have to say. More after the fact. Sadly, I wasn't really smashing it when I was 8 years old in terms of watching WWF, I don't mind telling you. But great to see them going in. And along with the natural disasters as well. Little gutted Earthquake isn't getting it on his own. But you've got Big Fred Ottoman, who is a bonus fact for you, is Cody Rhodes' uncle.
That's right, because I found that out through the video game a couple of years ago, because the pre-order bonus was like his family, and he was one of the pre-order. I was like, how's his family? And then,
he's been a part of some big wrestling moments. Of course, he'll always be Shockmaster, but he was motherfucking Typhoon and the Natural Disasters. And I love to see these teams getting their kudos. We don't have a lot of those teams still around. You know, we really don't. And Demolition are going to be there. Obviously, there's a lineage of both men. I mean, you've got Superstar, Bill Eadie. That was Axe before he was Axe. He wrestled over in Japan. You've got, I've forgotten, Barry Barstow, who had been about 1 billion gimmicks in WCW, but obviously been Repo Man and loads of other cool stuff. And of course, you got the Natural Disasters as well. Iconic wrestlers getting their kudos, getting their thumbs up. So, you know, there's not many of those tag teams still around. I'd love to see the Nasty Boys next year. Maybe there's still time to chuck the Nasty Boys in this year.
Well, you know, listen, they've got a lot of years to fill in that Hall of Fame, so I'm sure they'll be reserving some people for future years.
And just very quickly, we want to give a big shout out to Brian Nobbs, who I know is going through some really bad medical stuff just now. There is a Just Giving, what do you call them again?
Just Giving, yeah.
Just Giving, there is a Just Giving set up to help him with his medical bills. I know he just had a medical emergency, so big shout out to Brian Nobbs. Told to be a prick in his day, but fuck me, it was an entertaining one.
The Hall of Fame is shaped up to be quite nice. Triple H, Michelle McCool, they obviously announced Lex Luger as well. Before we do move on, because I do want to say, the Hall of Fame announcement that they made about the venue this year, big fan, that deserves love. They are changing the format of the Hall of Fame.
Brilliant.
So Last year I was there for the absolute calamity that was the Hall of Fame ceremony. They done it directly after SmackDown in an arena full of tired people that were wanting to go.
No.
They got Paul Heyman out first so he could get his love, and then the rest of the show it was an empty, horrible, dull arena. And it was a big wake-up call, because back in the day, it was perfect, because you had your SmackDown the Friday, before NXT was a thing. Hall of Fame got its dedicated time on a Saturday, where it was a fresh building, fresh people, and then it'd be WrestleMania on the Sunday. Now, with a two-night Mania, with NXT, that's impossible. So, I believe they're moving it into a theatre-type setting. It's going to be like the Oscars.
I love that.
It's going to be like a red carpet event after SmackDown.
Love it.
I can't wait. And it means that the people who are going to go to it will buy their ticket because they want to be there. It's not because it was a freebie on your SmackDown ticket. It's because you want to go. So it's going to be a nice theatre official setting, which I think the Hall of Fame always should. It was at one point and always should have been.
I have been at 2 Hall of Fames, right?
Yeah.
One where it was a big arena and it was an event all of its own.
That was Mania 30 before NXT Takeover.
That would have been right. That would have been right. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I went to another one where I ended up on the fucking floor. Like, I believe there's a couple of shots of me just going.
Who was the headliner that year?
Goldberg. I fucked off.
That's right. That's right. Goldberg. That's right.
So I'm glad to hear this. I think when you look at how well the Oscars was received this year.
Yeah.
When you look at how well that was done, they need to change the format, make it a television event again. I think it needs to be make it shorter. For fuck's sake, make it shorter. Stop giving these guys 30 minutes to make these goddamn speeches.
You will never know the pain of sitting through Thunderbolt Patterson's speech, Billy Kirkwood.
Like, this an event, man, that needs to get made better in that respect. 10 minutes tops. Fuck off. Just like, I know we're celebrating. Do a DVD, do a sit-down interview, put it on YouTube. People will want to see that. I would want to see that. I would want to hear the story of what Fred Ortman's got to say about the natural disasters. I would want to hear the story of Triple H. I would want to hear the story about all these guys. Fuck me, the Lex Luger saga continues. What a fucking life that man has been through. Yeah, they got to make it an event that is like nice and controlled, about 10 minutes each for a speech. I think, what? How dare you, Billy? It just needs to get condensed, right? Yeah. They go over at 15, then they're cut off, and away you go. Just that simple. And that's not me throwing shades on the legends. It really, really isn't. But we want to be enthused. Anyone that had to sit through the Mr. T speech will know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So, and the Hillbilly Jim speech.
Remember Larry Zbyszko's? Oh my goodness, God almighty.
And Larry was a great talker in his day. But again, you should have went 10 minutes, Larry. I know, that's you done.
And then we're going to play the music. Then we're going to play the music.
And you're out here. May I also suggest maybe get an entertainer or someone that has a connection to the WWE universe. I'm not suggesting myself, of course, but you look at how good a job Conan O'Brien does. You might
100%.
But it was brilliant. Get someone out there that has that connection. R-Truth and somebody would be amazing.
100%. I used to. This is a controversial thing to say, I know, considering the character of the man, but I used to enjoy it when. Back in his heyday when Lawler hosted it, because at least there was a bit of entertainment there. Yeah. I know, Jerry Lawler, I'm not praising him, I'm just saying he done a good job at hosting the Hall of Fame.
And they would clearly still have him on a leash as well. They would clearly still have him on a leash. Yeah. I just think when you see some of the entertaining people that are at ringside, is it so ridiculous? I don't know, some folk are going to think this is silly. Is it so ridiculous that Macaulay Culkin could host?
No, of course, exactly. There's there will be. He's a die-hard wrestling fan. I'm sure he'd be honoured if he got asked to host the Hall of Fame. And he's not the only one. There's so many people who are fans of the business. And at the end of the day, they're not getting asked to do the speeches. They're getting asked to introduce them onto the stage. They don't need to have a vast knowledge of their career.
I mean, I can think of some big-name comedians or even guys like Will Sasso and what have you. We don't know
Will Sasso.
He's a huge wrestling fan. Chris Van Vliet and someone else. Shout.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing some names out there.
Vanessa Hudgens, man. Vanessa Hudgens. She's there every week.
Vanessa Hudgens and Will Sasso. That would be great.
Yeah,
you could have some fun with that. You could really have some fun with that. Maybe even find I'm just trying to think.
Why are you in charge of
this year?
Have they got a female inductee?
Yeah.
Did you say? Michelle McCool.
Michelle McKill, of course.
Michelle
I was about to go, that can't be fucking right.
The only thing that we're missing is this. I wonder who the celebrity inductee will be. That's the only thing we're missing.
McColney. Fucking do it. Get Macaulay Culkin in. Biggest pops of the night,
not?
man. If they don't try and do some type of business, because he's got a great podcast, he's a great entertainer. His brother's just won an Oscar, for fuck's sake. But McColney's a really talented man. They should find a way of doing some business with Macaulay Culkin. I just think, I don't know. I never thought a phrase I thought I'd hear myself.
But they got that clown Andrew Schultz in the other night, so get Macaulay Culkin in.
No jokes, just racism. Moving on.
So I've done two of my eyes. Is it time to bring in my no?
Shall we bring in a no? Let's bring in a no.
Time to bring in my no.
Dun, 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 dun.
Edge.
Pish.
Cope. Adam Copeland. It's time, man. It's time. It's time to hang up them boots. It's finished. It's over.
Let me ask you a question before you get into it.
Go.
Is it a performance side of things?
I think it's everything. I think that you can tell that after that injury I don't know why he thought he had to dive off a cage. He doesn't need over. He doesn't need to do that at his age. It was a stupid decision. I think that injury has undoubtedly taken a lot out of him, which is a first and foremost. Number two is I think that he's maybe passed the juice due by anyway. And number three, I don't know how to word this because maybe not everybody will agree with me here when I say this. Is there a real hunger for Adam Copeland in 2025? Are you first?
Well,
because I'm not.
Let me ask you this. Was there an appetite in 2024? Was there an appetite in 2023? I ain't being cruel. We were all delighted to see him back. And beyond a couple of big matches, the best wrestling match ever. What a fucking ridiculous name. Beyond that, I mean, what a lot of pressure to put on the man. Here's the thing, right? Historically, when you were getting up there a bit, you'd be just kept into tag team matches. You'd be just kept... Well, look at Sting. Yeah. Look at Sting.
Sting with Darby and
you couldn't have booked a more perfect retirement run. And I don't just mean that last year. I mean his time in AEW. Mm-hmm. I don't cope with it to the point that if Sting had challenged for the world title and won it, you'd have been fine with it.
Yep.
You'd have been fine with it because you knew it would have been done in a classy way. It would have been a good match and it wouldn't have been for long. For long. This is different with Edge. This needs to be a big realignment for him to continue in AEW, and it ain't a heel turn. If Mariah May and Toni Storm had been booked as the main event and they had gone on second, I don't think a lot of us would be talking this way.
Exactly. Would this conversation be happening? But it's not just that as well. I don't know how much say Edge has had since returning to wrestling in 2020, right? I don't know how much say he's had. But it's beyond a joke now, the whole... And I know we do this for a laugh. People go, oh, Becky Hogan, oh, Rhea Hogan, or Seth Hogan, or Roman Hogan. But the whole Adam Hogan jokes, they have gone a bit too far. Do you know that he's only been pinned 8 times? 8 times since returning to wrestling in 2020. He had feuds with Orton, feuds with Balor, feud obviously, of course, in AEW with younger guys that's coming through. He had a chance to put over the likes of Grayson Waller, Sheamus, other stars from both promotions, and he's just not done it. And in this match, he whips out Christian, he gets covered, and he loses his contract, and Edge is like, well, I've not been pinned again. What is going on? Why?
If Tony is really back into things, then he needs to realign this. I don't know what kind of contract that Edge is on. Is he on the creative contract? Doesn't work for me, brother. Who knows? In WWE, I personally think Adam Copeland made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
We should have had 2 years more of in-ring retirement run. He'd have had the retirement run by now. He'd be retiring. Maybe he'd have the one last match with Cena. Maybe he'd be able to put Cena over. I knew there was trouble when Ricky Starks cut the promo about him having bug eyes, and then he buried, and Ricky Starks has insinuated that is Adam Copeland that's caused him some trouble. We don't know. Yep. We don't know. We don't know. there needs to be a change of direction. Maybe him and Christian need to work together. Maybe he needs to go away. Like, we've had the Cope, which is a fucking stupid name. Even, we knew there was trouble when he changed his name to fucking Cope.
Cope, I know. I remember waking up that morning, seeing the story and going, what on earth is happening? You've just been so used to being a one-syllable name your entire life that you had to go for the worst you can think of.
It's dreadful, man. So,
yep.
Yes, no, I'm not bothered. I did not watch the main event until a couple of days later. Because I don't like John Moxley either, in all fairness.
When I woke up and I seen the online reaction to the match, it was obviously a lot of sarcasm. A lot of people going, oh, what a match and all that. And I genuinely thought they meant it. I genuinely thought people were being serious about it being a good match. So then when I tuned in and watched it and then went and done more research on Twitter, I soon saw it was for very obvious sarcastic reasons. I just don't get it, man. And that's the thing, Edge... I've always been a Christian guy. My whole life, I've always preferred Christian. Controversially, even at the height of Edge's career, I was always a Christian guy. When Edge was tearing it up in WWE in the mid-2000s, I was the one watching Impact, watching TNA, I should say, to see what Christian Cage was doing. Because I had more interest in
World
Christian.
Heavyweight Champion, that's what he was doing.
Yeah, but I had more interest in what Christian was doing. I've always been a Christian guy, but Edge is one of the greats, undoubtedly, and I respect the fucking hell out of him for some of the moments he's given me as a wrestling fan. He's given me some very emotionally invested moments that have really been some of the key moments in my life being a wrestling fan. But him more than anybody, and the business that he came up through, with the guys that he's seen, the guys he's worked with the problems that Hogan has caused, with the problems that even Dwayne has caused, being there, seeing them and hearing those stories, for him to be repeating those mistakes himself in a company like AEW, which is meant to be breeding a future generation of wrestlers, it's just so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating.
You heard it here first. Fuck off, Edge. There.
And do you know what? If I ever somehow run into you at any show somehow, I love you, mate, and I never said a bad word about you.
I'm told he's an absolute gentleman. This seems like...
I have no doubts he's a nice guy.
It seems like there needs to be a reset. Well, let's all not forget he fucked Lita behind Mark Hardy's back.
Well, that is true. That's true. Maybe some character development since then, right enough. Maybe he's matured a little bit. He's not going to get away with
that now, otherwise I think Beth Phoenix would actually rip his dick off.
I think she would. I
had so many no's.
You were the opposite of me. I had 3 eyes and a no, and you're out here saying, oh.
I had so many no's. So the one I'm going to give is a tiny little one, just a quick one. I got an email this morning. From WWE.com.
Oh, right, okay. Right. I thought you were going to tell me you were getting an email from, like, some producer or something like that.
And to start up a new company, once this is the voice, we both said yes, just so you know. I got an email from WWE.com this morning, and it was showing me that you can buy, right? You can still buy for the shows coming up in Brussels. Let's see.
I know what this is. I
didn't take a screenshot. You can buy John Cena, The Last Run merch. Now, is this a mistake? Is Cena still coming out with this fucking t-shirt? Have they just telegraphed where this angle might even be fucking going, Ryan? Either way, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I
had a shock when I said, I'm obviously there, in case anybody doesn't know, I will be there in Brussels next week. I will be buying myself one of these John Cena t-shirts, considering it's one of the last few times I will see the guy. But all I'll say is, I'm going to trust the process, because I think
will you be buying the socks, though? Will you be buying?
No, the socks.
You can't see me. The last time is now socks. That's what I want to know.
This has got to be leading to something, Billy. Like, I don't know if it's something as simple as him ripping the shirt off, announcing his new look. I don't know, but it's surely leading to something. There is no way that at WrestleMania, John Cena will be coming out in his fucking t-shirt, his hat, his socks, giving it the "you can't see me." I truly believe that this will lead to something.
I mean, I'd buy one. I would buy one. I'm not going to buy the sweatbands. Never liked the wristbands, the sweatbands. I've always thought that was fucking stupid. And I will not be buying the "you can't see me" socks.
Man, the socks.
I just don't like the, like, why am I getting an email about this? Like, are you telegraphing? I'm a bit worried it's telegraphing something. But I also think, like, hang on. I remember seeing a Chris Van Vliet interview where John Cena went, "Oh, yeah, I was going to turn heel." Mm-hmm. And first thing I said, there'd be no merch and all that. Yeah, well, that doesn't appear to be the case. Are people going to buy these? Or are they
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
Are they going to?
Oh, of course.
It's not going to be the same number, is it? The number of people that go like, fuck those.
You
See, if it
don't
had been
know.
John Cena, fuck those kids.
Well, this is, for me, there's two possible routes that this goes down, right? One, far more unconventional than the other. The first is that he comes out to Cody on Raw, because it's the first time that he'll come out. He kicks his arse in, rips the shirt off, says that's it, the shirts have gone, and this is where Brussels is like the last time we see him sporting that sort of gear, and that's it. He came out, he done the wee cash grab so they could get some money over in Europe, etc, etc. Or far more unconventional, do we get schizophrenic maniac out of his head John Cena who acts like, what do you mean I didn't turn on you at Elimination Chamber?
Now we spoke on that a little bit on the episode we did at ringside. I don't hate that. I don't hate that Cena does not see what he's done wrong. You know, and doubling down. I don't see what I've done wrong.
Anybody who can pull it off, it's John Cena.
Could be Cena. It could be Cena.
John Cena. It's a risk. It's a very, very ballsy move.
Yeah.
If they go that route.
It really is.
But if anybody pulls it off, it's John Cena.
So I hated that. And for the record, I'm going to say it.
I'll make sure to bring you one back.
Is John Cena, you know, I'm kind of tempted. Is John Cena's hair seeping through his head to his eyebrows? Did anyone else notice how fucking massive his eyebrows were?
Bushy.
Fucking huge, man. What is going on with that?
Mm.
I assume that's the look he needs for whatever movie he's making. But I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But all the things were so fucking petty when it comes to pro wrestling. So that's mine.
It's such an interesting few days, because by the time I'm back from Belgium, we'll have seen Cena, if he comes out with a new theme, if he does debut a new look. Like, there'll be a lot of questions answered this time next week. So I'm really interested to see what happens.
Kind of want him to come out to Thugonomics.
I want him to cut. So there's a song, and a lot of people have been floating the idea of it on Twitter already. But there's a song on the same album of Bad Bad Man. Now, Bad Man. So
I
good.
fucking love it, man. It's a tune. I have been singing the praises of for quite some time. But
yeah, I want that.
I think the problem with it is it's a really good tune. Like, it's really like
everybody in the arena will be on their feet. You know?
I just want to get bouncing and that. So that's kind of my ones for this week. Right, you normally pick a prick of the week. Clown of the week, sorry. I should say clown of the week. Do you have one for us today, sir?
I do. And I don't know, over the past few hours, I've been rethinking this, because I see that the whole narrative over it has been changing. But I still feel like we need to talk about it.
Okay.
Damaris Lewis at Revolution, the actress who was interviewed at ringside during a pay-per-view. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Have you?
It's not good.
And I see that. So, for example, Camille, who of course we worked with very recently at ICW, has came out and publicly defended Damaris Lewis for her comments, saying that it wasn't what she meant, it's been misunderstood, and she should. And I, for one, I do not think she deserves the abuse that she's getting online. I think wrestling fans are a very, very fierce bunch. We know that, right? Mm-hmm. And they can get very defensive over their sport. They get defensive over their love. Mostly because some of them don't have a life outside of wrestling.
Is there a butt coming?
But why would you say that down a microphone halfway through a fucking pay-per-view, Billy?
Yeah. It makes you kind of go like, did anybody tell her? Did anybody did you not give her a heads up of what was about to happen? Did she panic?
She must have have.
What are you planning to say? What was it you're planning to say? I was going to say this. Oh, don't say that.
And is it just, and this is not me, I don't want to start throwing unnecessary shade on AEW, but is this once again a pointer to the differences between WWE and AEW? Because in WWE, that would never happen. They are very regimented in their and how they go about planning these segments with celebrities. The celebrities know exactly what they're doing and what they've to say. Is this a sign to AEW that they should maybe start treating it as regimented as WWE? Because Oh man, you can't be saying it halfway through a pay-per-view. You just can't. I'm sorry, you can't. And I get it. So people have came out and said, Billy, like, people are going, oh, what's the difference? Because you get Triple H and Dwayne coming out after pay-per-views and sitting down at the press conference and talking about how this has been planned and what they've been doing, and completely out of character essentially. But there's a big difference between somebody saying it at a press conference, which is up to you if you want to watch or not, and then saying it literally between matches on a premium live event.
Yeah. It's not a good moment. I mean, the guy that Ken John, is it Ken John? I can never remember his name. The actor that was from The Hangover. You see him in lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Big wrestling fan as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't say anything. I'd say that though. I love shit like that. I love shit like that. I go, oh my god, that could not have went worse.
No, and I remember, so I seen the Fightful report. So Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful came out and said that AEW sources said that there was audible groans backstage, which I do find very fucking hilarious, because you could just picture them all around the monitor. Ah, you could just you could just picture them. Oh man. Like, we all know, like I get it. We're old and wrestling. The curtain's gone. We all know what professional wrestling is, but there's a time and a place.
Silly cow. There's just two ways about it. Silly cow. Shall we get to some questions, sir?
Oh, of course, because we've got loads today. I couldn't believe it when I put up the tweet. I seen them flying in.
That's something while we're recording. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm just getting the tweet up in front of me now. God, I've got to let me choose. Where do I choose? I'll start with my good friend Dylan, who is a member of the Select the Thunder podcast, actually.
Go on, Dylan.
With me and some of the boys. It says, looks like Punk will be in this triple threat with Roman and Seth. Do you prefer do you prefer this, or would you rather he was in a triple threat with Cody and Cena at WrestleMania?
The answer to that for me is yes. I have to admit, even with some fantastic work on Monday night, I don't really know how bothered I am about this three-way. I really don't.
And
you're going to have to put something on the line. I'm not fussed.
Well, this is the thing that annoys me. I don't believe that you're a big video gamer nowadays, are you? But
my video game. I'm on Steam.
Well, good stuff. The new WWE game came out, and I got it. I've completed the showcase mode, and there's a segment in that showcase mode where it's Roman and Seth Rollins, and Paul Heyman is narrating the story. And I shit you not, Billy, people have posted the video of Paul Heyman. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long. People have posted the clip of Heyman talking about the rivalry of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. And I shit you not, I had fucking goosebumps listening to Heyman narrate it.
Wow.
He is he's obviously just a natural storyteller. Yeah, he's magical in his words. And he's talking about this rivalry, and before you kind of load into the next match, it's like, one day it will come to an end. One day we'll see it all finish, and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins will be across from each other in the ring, blah, 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 blah. That should be the match at WrestleMania. And that Paul Heyman storytelling told me that should be the match at WrestleMania. Now, I love CM Punk. He was great on Monday. He was great the Monday before that. He was great the Monday before that. He was great the Monday before that. He's just great, and he fits in anywhere. But I think would have benefited more from being in the Cody Rhodes and John Cena match than this match. I think you've nailed it there. I would actually genuinely be more invested in Roman versus Seth, which doesn't make a lot of sense considering all the business with Punk recently. Although, I don't know, that storyline could come to an end. I mean, that's one that could be picked up and put down and picked up and put down and picked up and put down for years to come. Yeah. It's kind of like Orton and Cena, isn't it? Like, they can just jump back in and out to it.
Kind of like Orton and Cena, yeah. So, and we need those matches. We really do. I'm just not that bothered by seeing the three-way. I'd rather see Punk versus Roman, which again doesn't really make loads of sense. It looks like they're heading for this three-way. I hope Punk gets his main event. I always thought the main event would be for the world title, but I also appreciate old time is catching up. Time is catching up with Mr. Punk. He might have one last, like, if he's going to have one WrestleMania for the title, it might be one. Literally might be one.
Do you think they'll pull off the big swerve? Do you think that Paul Heyman aligns with Seth Rollins?
I hope not.
I don't know what I think about it, but it dawned on me on Monday that there's a real chance that could happen.
I guess it could.
You seem like, so unbothered.
I am. I like Seth. And the thing is, I like Seth Rollins. I do like
the
Seth
point
Rollins.
The point I made was, does he really need Paul Heyman?
No, not really. I think I'd rather see a power couple, him and Becky, be monster heels. Maybe them being monster heels with Heyman at their side makes more sense. But Heyman's always been about a guy that's kind of invested in the future a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And
it seems an odd place to put him with Seth, multi-time world champion already. It doesn't fit in, and I don't see who benefits. If it were him and Braun Breaker, who he's working with apparently lots backstage, then I'd be like, all right, cool. That makes total sense. That makes total sense. Yeah, I'm just like, I think Seth needs time off. And I mean, like, genuinely, I think needs like a year away.
We spoke about that recently, didn't we? We said that break that he got between Mania and then returning just before Money in the Bank was not long enough.
No, not long enough.
Evidently wasn't long enough because he ended up fucking himself again and he had to take another few weeks off.
Exactly. And the man's body clearly needs to heal. I mean, his wife's been off the road. Why? I mean, kudos to his work ethic more than anything. And the stuff he did with Punk was brilliant. The steel cage match before the ending was already great. I mean, the fact that match is on TV shows you what the Netflix series all about. Because that would have never fucking happened 5 years ago.
No,
never. And so I loved it. And maybe we need a change in character. A heel character, sure. But don't make him the fucking Architect again, because I thought the Architect was boring as balls.
The Architect.
And they're apparently dropping Freaking from his middle name now.
I seen that Dirty Freaking and Big is gone.
I hope that's not the case, man, because he needs to be Big Bronson Reed and Dirty Dom. It needs to be Dirty Dom. I'm sorry, it needs to be Dirty Dom. It's an old school throwback.
I think that the commentators will still refer to them as. I just think it's been dropped from their official title.
I'm not fucking dropping it. I'll tell you that right now. No way.
You don't need to, unless they give them all to Big E, so he becomes Big Freaking Dirty E.
Big freaking Dirty. Oh, that reminds me of time at Wrestlemania. Right, we got a couple more in here. This one: do you think Jey Uso can beat Gunter at Wrestlemania? This is a short and sweet one. Yes.
Yes.
I believe he can. I see no reason why not. I don't see the benefit of Gunter taking the title through, although he might. I
love Gunter. I love him. He's one of my favourites. He's probably my top 3 favourite wrestlers in the world at the minute. But they are clearly planning to give the title to Jey Uso, whether it's for a long or short reign, whatever it is. They have not been building this from the Royal Rumble to then have the wet fart of Gunter retain.
Yeah. If they don't, Jey Uso will be world's heavyweight champion within the year, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
And it'll be a great night. You can't always do the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania dream. You can't. We've seen that before with Cody Rhodes. You can't always do that. It might not happen. So, but I think he can. The question is, I think he can. We got one in here from our pal Kevin Twist. This one's right up to date.
Yes, I was going to ask this one.
Is it the double champs?
Yes, it is the double champs.
All right, well, why didn't you tackle it, my friend?
So Kevin was asking, what is your thoughts on double champs? Do you like them, hate them? It makes the mid-cards an accessory to the main title, maybe. This is after, obviously, Stephanie Becker won the NXT Championship last night from Julia. My answer to this is it just depends on the booking itself.
Yeah.
And I know that's so beige of an answer, and it's very, very vague. I know that, right? But there's ways to make it work that makes it enjoyable, and then there's ways that just make it feel like a waste of time. And I'm hoping in NXT with Stephanie Becker, that is not the case.
Yeah, well, can I say, first thing I want to say to many wrestling fans out there, Stephanie Becker, we have come so far as wrestling fans that we now see it just as wrestling more and more with each and every passing day. We don't see gender. Some of you thirsty motherfuckers need to calm the fuck. And I am talking about you, Booker T.
I was going to say you're talking about Booker T.
Thirsty fucking drought mouth virgins out there need to fucking get a grip on yourself, and not like that. Just settle the fuck down and enjoy the wrestling. What the fuck? Have you not got an internet connection? Do you not have enough time? Did your ma not have a fucking Littlewoods catalogue you can spank your hammer over to?
It's
Settle
the internet
fuck
blockers. It's the child protection blockers. They're rife nowadays. That's what
Just fucking hell, man. Like, you go, oh, look at this about NXT. Jesus fucking Christ.
And it's
then
Booker T having a fucking orgasm in the commentary table.
Oh my god, Booker needs to settle down, man. I don't think it's a good look. At least
that's what Sharmell thinks.
Yeah, at least when I do Billy fucking Kirkwood in commentary, he's always torn between genders and sexuality. So don't let that bother you. Right. But in terms of double champions, the question is, as an event, I don't mind it. Building up to it, I don't mind it. I'm not in love with it if you've got two divisions that are actually doing really well. And that's what we had. That's what we had with these two divisions colliding. Unless you're going to unite the titles, which would seem silly at this point. Unite the titles. I hate the idea of I hate the idea of a world champion defending the championship and then losing the lesser,
the
lesser of the two championships.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good look. I fucking hate that.
Because then like if you were to try and look at it as if it was like a real sport, you'd be going home devastated that you're not getting the big prize. Like, I didn't get the fucking world title.
I beat the world title. I'd beat the world champion. Yeah. I beat the world champion, which is conceived to be the bigger title. So I got an issue with that. She surrenders the North American Women's Championship, and that goes straight into a tournament. It's, for me, the best outcome. The best outcome. A battle royal, a tournament, whatever. That title needs to get fought for because it has been vacated. That's what I think with any dual champions, unless you are combining the titles. I didn't like it when Kenny Omega was AEW World Champion and he was TNA World Champion. I didn't like that either.
So they wouldn't combine them because this Women's North American Championship is not even a year old, I don't think. So there's no way that'll happen. There's too many women for that to happen. But this did happen with, was it Keith Lee that won?
He did.
Both the NXT North American, and then he just vacated one of the championships. Yeah. So I think that the smartest thing to do would have Stephanie McMahon vacate the North American Championship because she's just won the World Championship anyway. So it's like she's upgraded, isn't she? She's got the big prize now. So she may as well vacate that. Don't do what they done with fucking Seth. Remember when Seth beat Cena? John Stewart ran in and he became WWE and United States champion just for him to lose the US Championship back to Cena 28 days later. Don't do that. Just have her vacate it and make it feel special the next time somebody wins that championship, or even better, the next time they beat Stephanie McMahon.
Well, that's it. Get the world champion to put it over. I don't have an issue with the North American champion being effectively the roaming number one contender to the world title. Get Stephanie McMahon to come out there, put over a massive statement going, I came at this with all my heart, with all my being. I wanted to be the NXT heavyweight champion. I've done it, and here we are. This title is what got me here. This is the golden ticket. This is the title that everyone's clawing and scraping and fighting for. So it would be selfish of me to continue to hold this, but I want to let you know this was my championship. This was my ticket, and I hand it back for you bitches to fight over. If you want to throw bitches in there, you can.
And then even throw out like whoever wins it, I'll give you a championship match. Something like that. Just there's another reward on
your title will not be on the line.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I think that's but I don't know why they do them, to be honest.
I think that there was just such a hunger for Julia and Stephanie McMahon to happen, and they did, and they probably want to get it done before they're both one of them's away from NXT. I don't know what exactly.
Julia's injured. She's getting some time off. But you wouldn't know it from the match. The match was fantastic. The match was absolutely fantastic. But no, I like that. I like that a lot. But to answer your question, Kevin, directly, I'm not the world's biggest fan of somebody beating the other champion and then becoming dual champion, unless I guess that's the problem, man. If you're challenging for the world title, how can you not put your title on the line if you're IC champion? Mm-hmm. Should you get a world title shot without putting your title on the line? I guess not. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm not the world's biggest fan of it, but there is circumstance where it does work, and this was one of them. It was a great match, despite Booker T's commentary.
Love that. Love that.
Just needs to settle the fuck down, Ryan. It's
He does.
embarrassing.
He does.
I got a quick one I can answer very quickly.
Oh, there you go.
Let's see. In Devonta Smith, I think I've got
Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith.
Apologies. Said the Hardys are the Bucky Boys. The Hardys. Sorry, Stevie. It's the Hardys.
I didn't think that would be such an easy answer for you.
Well, it wasn't. But you know, the Bucky Boys were a frozen moment in time, and what a time it was. Iconic in Scottish professional wrestling. But you are asking the question, the Buckies or the Hardys, and I'm going with the Hardys. Sorry, lads. Sorry, wee man.
You might be many things, Billy Kirkwood, but you're not a liar.
No, tells it as I sees it. That's all I can do. What's your next one, Ryan?
So there's actually a couple more, and I thought you'd like this one because Ryan Dunbar asked if you were to go dead or alive, multi-generational, pick 4 members of the Anawahi, Fatu, or Mariah clan, the whole bloodline. If you were picking 4 of them to be your bloodline faction in WWE,
wow,
what 4 do you take? And I thought you'd enjoy that one. I think that straight away the first person I thought of had to be Haku.
Oh wow!
Just because apparently that man would kill anybody.
I think I changed the dynamic a little bit.
Okay.
Like, see, having Rikishi as a kind of slightly off-screen character, an elder statesman.
Yeah, like the Godfather.
A Godfather.
I'd
be into that. So he kind of qualifies but doesn't qualify at the same time. Haku's a great shout. Yeah. A classic Haku, who never really got his flowers as a wrestler.
I know he won King of the Ring, didn't he? But it wasn't like, I don't think of that as like a peak sort of moment,
Yeah. Yeah, that happened as opposed to it being a big deal. You got to say Jacob. I'm going to say Jacob because he's such a unique entity all of his own. Like there hasn't been a Jacob Fatu. There's not going to be another Jacob Fatu. Zilla Fatu is meant to be coming along nicely.
Yeah.
Always nice to have a little shout out to the next generation. God, but there's so many of them, and I mean that with respect.
And even like a guy like Yokozuna, like unbelievable for the guy his size to do the things that he could do, and just. I mean, there's no shortage of ways to describe Yokozuna's impact.
I mean, Yoko, who effectively, because of athletic commissions, is what effectively took him out of the mainstay of pro wrestling. I mean, he couldn't even go and work for WCW because of those rules, the athletic rules that kind of shut everything down for him. So, I mean, if Yoko had stayed healthy, if it were this day and age, he'd have stomach surgery. It'd be a very different world for Yoko. I don't think I can answer that question. It's such a trick. 4 doesn't seem enough. 4 doesn't seem enough.
If I was to pick my 4 off of just out there straight away without putting too much thought in it, would be Roman Reigns. It would be Roman Reigns, Haku, Jacob Fatu, and Umaga.
Oh man, the bulldozer.
There's my
Love it. Love it. Yeah, that's as good a one as I could come up with myself, to be honest, without digging really deep. I mean, you might go, what about The Rock? Well, what about the fucking Rock?
You're talking to 2 staunch Rock haters.
Yeah, what about him? He's got enough TV time. He's got enough money, all right?
No, he doesn't need that.
He sticks his oar in the bloodline storyline. He fucks it up. I'll try. Let me just double check, see if I've got any more questions. We did have another one that came in quite late.
I had one from. Can rattle through this very quickly because we've kind of touched on it. But my good friend Jake asked the question. If I can just quickly find it again because I accidentally clicked off Twitter. He basically asked about the build to WrestleMania and whether or not we think things are clear or not. He said, "What do you make of the Mania build so far? Personally, with the last big show now done, I find the build to be a bit confusing in its presentation. All the matches are set, but very few of them seem to justify their existence outside of we need them on the card or people getting the scraps of other storylines thrown to them because creative have found something better for someone else involved."
Lots of good points.
I think there's a lot of that involved in this year's WrestleMania booking. Do I think it will still lead to a very good WrestleMania? Yeah. But undoubtedly, they went into this Mania with maybe different plans and things have changed and they've had to pivot, as Triple H loves to remind us. I think this is a one-of-a-kind build that we'll never see again. I think this is I think that Triple H will learn from this year that things need to be a little bit clearer, and maybe starting next year things will be a little bit more clearer. I don't think we'll see quite something like this again, which in its own way makes it unique.
I think you're right. It is muddy and it's quite exciting. I think we can't have The Rock coming in and being a part of storylines every fucking year.
Yeah, 100%.
I think, the waters are very muddied on this one. We should have clear main event matches. I guess we do. We've got Cena versus Cody. That is happening. We've got Jay versus Gunter, which you haven't heard enough about recently, I would argue. It's been overshadowed by the Cena turn. But as well as that, I will say WrestleMania, you have to make it clearer, and you have to be putting it in cities where it is not a fortune to go to, right? One of the big things I hear coming out of Las Vegas is, first of all, WrestleMania is not sold out, and we are just over a month away. It is not sold out. The idea of them papering WrestleMania is fucking mental. Like having to give away free tickets, but it's because flying to Las Vegas is very expensive. The British fans are not coming this year. They're just not coming.
I went to WrestleMania 40, and the same price that I paid for that would get me half of what I need to go to Vegas. And that's for like the same similar kind of seats, for the same amount of nights of staying in a hotel, for going to Raw, SmackDown. It's like double the price. And I'm going to New Orleans next year.
Yeah.
And
which is cheaper. I can tell you that right now. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
So WWE really need to look at that, man. They really need to look at that, because I would hate the idea of that big arena not being full for WrestleMania. And that is the start of some major fucking problems if that is the case. Do I think it's the case? I'm sure it will get filled up. And fuck it, if they want to fly me and Ryan over exclusive tickets, maybe we'll
more than happy.
We'll help. We'll fill seats. We'll fill seats. We'll move around.
More than happy. We'll move around.
We'll make it look busy. We'll move around. But to take his point, I think it's a bit muddy this year, and I think they need to learn from this. But then again, they want to keep us on the edge of our seats. They've still got 4 weeks worth of television to get through, which is only in its new deal. So they've got to make sure that it's a gripping weekly TV show. Is it going to make 30,000 people go out and buy tickets, or 20,000? I don't know what the number is. It's a big number, isn't it? It's like 80,000 or something.
I couldn't tell you exactly. I'll try and find out if you've got a point to make.
My point is it going to be enough to shift the tickets that are needed to fill that place in the next couple of weeks? Because that's a lot of people suddenly going, fuck it, I'm going to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix now. It's just down the road. I can watch it on my Netflix. I don't even need to take out a WWE account. It's already on my phone. It's already on my computer. It's already on my TV. Dad, am I going to get in the car and go to WrestleMania? That's the big question for the Americans, because it is the Americans that are going. And with some of the terrifying stories I'm hearing about getting through customs just now over in the States, I'm all right. I think I'm glad I'm not going this year. Just these
Vegas doesn't appeal to me. Vegas doesn't appeal to me that much at all.
I'm told it's not up to much, to be honest. And I'm not going to New Orleans because I've already been to New Orleans twice. I'm not going again.
You hold off you hold off another year, Billy. You hold off another year.
I'm not going. I'm just not going, Ryan. I'm just not going. I would be able to take you to. Hey, Billy, do you know these? Do you know these a supermarket? Yes, down there, 3 streets down.
Follow me. I can't find exacts on the numbers of tickets left for this year's Mania, but let's just put it this way: it's a fucking lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
I think there's going to be some cheapies out there somewhere, but there's no cheap flights. So from what I can see, the majority of Brits aren't going. It's an expensive one this year. Maybe that'll change over the next couple of weeks, but who knows? Who knows? It's not just jumping on a flight and going to Orlando. It's not just jumping on a flight and going to New York. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Right. Should we get the fuck out of here, sir?
Yes, I think we've wrapped up everything that we need to wrap up today.
Right, well, don't forget, of course, to like, subscribe if you're watching on the YouTube channel. Make sure to check us out on Spotify. And, of course, spread the word of the podcast with any of your friends. We would love to hear from you. Of course, don't forget out Old Man Fitzsimon Celtic podcast. I think it's now called the Old Boys. Is that what we're calling
The Old Boys.
Wow.
Wow, that's low.
You're 25. I have been drinking. Oh, well, no, not really. I tell you what, I've not been drinking nearly as long as you've been alive.
Oh my God, Jesus! Right, well, I'll stop complaining before Marius has a mental breakdown. But I appreciate the shout out.
Christ, I'm so old.
Get yourself some tickets for this man's show and save him before he.
Come to the Glasgow Comedy Festival. I need your help because I'm working with a promoter who's a twat. All I was going to say is get your tickets. They're over on my website, and we will see you next time for Wrestling Forever.